Evening, everybody. I'm just in a dark place right now, sitting in my car, chilling out, and I have a lot in my mind. I have a whole lot in my mind, actually. One of the big concern to me is the way our so-called Prime Minister is dealing with the situation in Ottawa. I find it extremely concerning as a Canadian how he's abusing his power. It doesn't mean you have to agree with the truckers. It doesn't mean you have to agree with the movement in any way whatsoever. But the reality is here, he is abusing his power. With abuse of power, do you think he's only going to use this once if he gets away with it? Think about it. He has 3 years left in his term, and he can do a lot of damage in that time. I look at this whole situation. I'm ashamed to be Canadian. I don't even know what it means to be Canadian anymore. These are people. It doesn't matter if you believe in their movement. These people's jobs were taken from them because they believed in a choice. You don't have to agree with them, but think about this. You believe in something. Think of something you truly believe in as a person. It could be spiritual, it could be religious. It doesn't matter. Now what happens, and you so hardly believe in that, and somebody tells you that you can't do it anymore, to the point where you're going to lose your job, and you stand up to it in a peaceful way. Don't believe all the bullshit. I know people that live in Ottawa. The stuff you're hearing on the radio is not true. The things that you're hearing in what the government is saying, this is a peaceful protest. All the stuff you heard about swastikas and abuse and people being beaten, that's all BS. There was stuff like that might have happened, but they were actually kicked out by the truckers and by the movement because they want to have a peaceful protest. But these people keep coming in mysteriously, all of a sudden now they're plastered all over the news. But they're not even part of it. They get removed almost instantly. So what does that say? Our own Prime Minister said they were terrorists. They were Nazis. Do you really believe that? Is that a true statement to you? I know people that chose not to be vaccinated. Good, hard-working people. They made a choice. And they're severely punished for it. They're treated like second-class citizens. They may as well say people almost like they're terrified of them. They're treating them like criminals. They can't travel. They can't go to restaurants. They're removed from their jobs. Some of them had these jobs for over 30 years. Maybe even longer. And you don't think they have the right to stand up as a Canadian citizen in what they believe in? And that our own Prime Minister accuses them of being terrorists and Nazis? Then passes an emergency law when there's kids jumping in little houses and playing. They're feeding the homeless. This is a peaceful demonstration, and he puts the Emergency Act in? You gotta be friggin' kidding me. What the hell happened here? This has gone well beyond you believing whether or not they're right or wrong. This is about every Canadian citizen. The Charter of Rights is being stomped on and spit on and burnt in front of our eyes, and very few people are standing up to this. Very few people even know what the hell is really truly going on. As a Canadian, I can't help but be ashamed of this. If you speak out against it, like, are you listening to what's actually they're doing? They're actually, basically, the banks are taking every bit of fund, every bit of money, taking the insurance off their own vehicles, shutting down their businesses permanently until they come back in line and get their shot. I don't know what to believe. It's almost like it's not real. So if you disagree with the government, they have the ability to destroy your life, shut down and steal all your money, close down your businesses. And why are they taking insurance off their vehicles? What do they have planned? Are they going to go in there and to wreck all the trucks to get rid of them? This is absolutely unbelievable. We all should be ashamed that we're not doing more. This is about the Charter of Rights now. It has nothing to do with the movement. This is everything to do with freedom of speech and freedom of choice as a Canadian. This is an attack on everything that our grandfathers stood for. Forefathers, what they went to war for, that died for, is being stomped on and ridiculed. And everybody's just standing around and watching, and most people don't even know what the hell is going on. Do you think it's just going to be this one movement? Any movement that the government disagrees going forward if they get away with this is going to be dealt with the same way. When you got a peaceful protest, yeah, it's interfering with people. You got to remember, these guys' livelihood was taken away from them. Their jobs were literally forced out of their jobs that they lived and worked for, businesses they had running for who knows how long. And you don't think they have the right to stand up for themselves? Are you even Canadian if you think otherwise? I don't know what to make of any of this. I'm completely, utterly astonished that everybody in Canada is in uproars about this. Do you see what is going on? They went there simply to talk to the Prime Minister. And he literally hid like a coward. And then comes back and puts this in place to deal with a problem that all he had to do was sit down and negotiate? At least talk to them even. These are Canadian citizens that were forced out of their homes, out of their jobs, because of something he chose to do. And he doesn't have the decency to even talk to them. This isn't democracy. This is a joke. I needed to get that out of my system, because I'm extremely upset about this. I don't even begin to really explain how upset I am about all this. And if you think this is simply just about vaccinations, you need to get your goddamn head out of the sand. This is so blatantly obvious, and they're lying. I know people that have been in these protests. I've talked to them. They're friends since grade 2. You've been going to this every weekend since it started. It's peaceful. And the media is putting it out to be something it's not. They're blatantly lying to everyone. You know, it's easy to sit back and say, oh, well, we're not sure what's going on in the Middle East. We're not sure what's going on in Asia. We're not sure what's going on in Russia. But this is our own goddamn backyard. And they're blatantly lying to you. Lying right in their face and laughing behind closed doors that we're stupid enough to be okay with this. Think about everything I just said. I was vaccinated. I didn't have a whole lot of choice in the matter. But a lot of people really believed in their choice to the point where they chose to not be. I know some of these people, and I'm telling you, they are good, hard-working people that are being persecuted because of their choices. And their choices deserve to be listened to and heard. There's got to be a solution to this. When we refuse to listen, then we're no longer Canadians. When our governments refuse to listen, they're not leaders anymore. So what are they? I'm going to do a journey into this energy and about the whole reasoning behind all this, what is happening. I want to see for myself. I'm going to set aside all my beliefs, all my passions, everything, so I can get a clear picture of what is actually really happening energetically and why the government is insisting on going in the direction they're going in. I already know why the truckers are doing what they're doing. They're very, very open about that. But why is the government handling it this way? Something isn't right. Something isn't right. It's like taking a flamethrower to light a candle. Who the hell would do that? Yet our own government, our own prime minister is choosing to start a war with people that are basically sitting around very peacefully and very passionate about what they believe in. So I need to know why the government is making this decision. So I'm going to do whatever I can as a spiritual person to look into this, to try to really wrap my own head around this whole ridiculous thing that I'm seeing unfold in front of my eyes. I actually still can't believe it's actually happening in this way. I haven't been this upset in a very, very, very long time, and I've been through some pretty damn hard stuff. So I say to the spirit world, I set aside everything, all my emotions, all my passions, I set it aside so I'll be able to see the truth and nothing but the truth. I'm going to the energy behind the reasons why the governments are making this decision. I'm sitting on the moon, actually. And I'm sitting on the edge of a crater. And I'm watching the earth from a distance. There's something irritating me. Something irritating in the background. I see the world that looks really peaceful from here, but there's something dark, something big that has a hold of the earth. I can see its hands wrapping around the earth. It's like a huge, massive black. It's almost like a black hole, but it's not a black hole. It's just a black circular portal that is behind the earth. And I see hands that are wrapping around the earth, pulling the earth inside of this. And I'm watching from a distance, and there's something irritating about the moon even. Something underneath my feet. And it's irritating because the moon isn't the moon and the earth isn't the earth. And the earth and the moon, it's like the ground itself turns into insects. Like the whole moon turns into insects, and I'm in a room full of insects everywhere. They're everywhere. And the world itself gets pulled into a dark space, and the lights go out into the universe, and I'm standing in a space of total darkness filled with black insects. And they give off a sound. And it's like very irritating sound, but it's farther away, it's quieter. But it comes by and it sounds like thousands of wings hitting together. And it flies by and it searches, looking for something. And I'm standing there and it looks at me. And I recognize this thing. I've seen it before. And it just looks at me and continues on. There's nothing here that it wants. It is like being inside another world that is full of insects that every time you walk it crunches. And periodically something comes and checks you out and moves on. And I'm walking, and there's like, I come across a doorway. It's not a doorway, it's a hallway, but it's so full of insects that you can't walk in it. So I have to turn into mist. And I go through the insects. I come to a door. It has many glyphs, and it's very thick. And it has many, many, many different keys, different types of ways to get into it. And I split myself up into many, many, many different dimensions in order to open this lock. It's a multi-dimensional lock. It's very difficult to open. And I have to do this all simultaneously, all at the same time to get into this space. And when they all click together, it's like an instantaneous shift, like I have to flip the whole space. And I'm standing now on the other side of the door. Good luck trying to get into this door, I say to myself. There's a reason why it's hard to get in here. And I turn around and it's like, well, how to explain it? It's like, it's almost like drawings. Very weird energy. And it's like, I'm just walking through this, and it's like not even real. It's like weird, kind of like cutout drawings that are made like they're brown and tan and very odd. But this, again, it's something else here, something hidden. And you have to put the drawings in a specific pattern. And then a big doorway opens up. Huge doorway. It's the size of a building. And I walk through the doorway. And it's like a massive orgy going on here. Massive, like thousands and thousands of people. And I'm walking through this, and they're not even paying attention to me. I could like literally walk over them. But there is one person here that looks down at all this. And he looks at me, and he says, "What am I doing here?" And instantly I'm behind him, and I push him forward into another dimensional space. So he's no longer in this space. And I sit down on his so-called throne. And I had to do this as a reason why I do everything. And I do this, and it spins backwards, and now I'm in a different space. And I get up. It's hard to get off this throne, though. It's like creates like a bluish lightning that wraps around me, preventing me from walking forward. And I simply just allow the energy to pass through. And I have to meticulously remove myself by changing my vibrational state to be released from this. It's interesting because it's not easy to do. It's almost like you have to try a million different simultaneous, slightly offset frequencies in order to get out of this. So that's what I have to do. And the chair flips back and disappears. And I'm in an area with water. And it's again a black space. But there's mirrors everywhere, and they're black mirrors. I've never came across quite mirrors like this. They're almost different shapes. They're just all different shapes, and they're all over the place, and they're even moving around constantly. So I create light, like almost like a laser that goes through this whole place, and there's one way to go, and I go that direction. And I go into a space, in through a crack, just for a split second in order to get into the next space. Otherwise, good luck again trying to get into here, because it's not easy to find these places. You have to trust on what to do and how to do it. I'm in another area that's full of waves. This is very unusual, but something is not wanting me to reach to my destination, and it's creating all these distractions. So I simply just go through these distractions as fast as possible, lightning speed. And it's like you can see that every distraction brings you to a different spot, to a different spot, to a different spot, but it just puts you in a circle, a never-ending maze that you never ever get out of. So I stop. I simply stop what I'm doing and sit still and think of bright, beautiful light and love. And I start to glow brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And I see that the darkness is slipping. It's becoming easier to see. And I place a small bright light on the floor, and I whistle in a way that it gets ridiculously bright really fast. and everything shatters and gets pulled into it. All the energy in here gets shatters instantly and gets pulled into the light, and it becomes a black orb that's super, super, super dense. And I look around and I see a lot of naked people here, and they're astonished that I'm able to see them. They all try to run away, and they keep bumping into each other. But they're light, it's pure white here now. There's no darkness, nowhere to hide. And they're all naked and they're running around banging into each other literally. It's kind of comical. Something is loud that says enough. It smashes through this space, and there's a being standing here in front of me. And all these people go on their hands and knees and start bowing to this thing. It is one of many. And this being is ridiculously tall. And these people are treating it like a god. But it's not just one. I look and there's many. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And they create like a V. But the true coward is in behind. This being isn't even real. It's more like a figure to make people worship something else. And instantly I just walk through it and I burst into really bright flames, and these all set on fire. These things turn to dust. These people are like, their God is just blowing up in little pieces and they don't know what to think. The true essence is behind this. Be careful what you worship and what you believe in, because sometimes you're astonished at what is actually there. There's a massive eyeball with many, 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 many veins that go down into this weird energy. And it's all moving. It's very unusual. And this eyeball blinks and looks and moves, but there's so many veins that they go down into this other space, so the eyeball is more of a distraction of what actually it really is. So I go through the eyeball down through the center of this thing, because it's again an illusion of what is something, but it really is nothing at all. I go through a series of, what the best way to describe them is light portals, and one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. Again, another loop. So I connect them all together and they create a hallway. At the end of the hallway, when you place them together just right, there's a door. And the door is black iron. And it's black iron and is ridiculously detailed. And has many different, like it has people, it just has all kinds of different grotesque and, I don't know the word, I guess kinky would be one way of saying it. Inscriptions. And grotesque descriptions as well. Like of people's, literally, it's all a bunch of different twisted sexual images. Some to the point where body parts are actually cut open. And anyway, you can use your imagination. And I open the doorway, and the stench of this place is horrific. And there's a thick layer of, how is the best way to describe it, is sludge. And if you walk into this sludge, you will be stuck. Unless you move through it correctly, you will be stuck and you won't be able to move, and you'll stay in this sludge forever. So you have to walk through this sludge correctly. And it's simply just believing you can move. Because when you hit here, you believe you're stuck. And if you believe you're stuck, you'll be stuck for eternity. But you have to believe you can move. And when you move very slowly. And you move very, very slowly through this space. And on the other side of this space, I stick my hands through the last of the membrane to get out. And it's like really long time. It's like 1,000 years went by just to move 10 feet. If not 100,000 years. And it's like ridiculously slow motion, and I finally get through the other side. And it's like, boop. It's the best way. You just instantly speed up again. But it's upside down and everything starts to spin, and now you're upright again. And it's full of eyeballs. As far as I can see, there's big eyeballs everywhere staring at me. Like thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them. We just walk through straight, and there's like a corridor that's full of eyeballs that look at you. The walls, the floor, the ceiling is all eyeballs, and they're connected by long, straggly veins. And they can move independent of themselves. I walked down this corridor for a long time. And underneath me there's like, it's kind of like, it's like this glass here, but it's not glass, it's more like ice. Yes, it is ice. And underneath this ice there is human beings. So thick in every direction. And these things connect onto the ice. The tentacles go deep within and connect on to these individuals, and the tentacles can grow for miles and miles and miles and miles, and these beings feed off all the souls that are here. The question is, why is this the energy that is being used by our governments? Is this the energy that they're using? This is the energy I'm being shown. Is there any more better explanation for the people listening to this? All of a sudden, everything turns to water. And this whole space feels is like one big ocean, and all the bodies are floating in the ocean. They're all dead. Floating in the ocean. Except for these eyeballs with tentacles that wrap around the bodies and feed off their souls' energy. Okay, I understand that they're not dead. They are paralyzed from the stings of these. They're almost like a jellyfish in a way, with long tentacles, and they keep them in a state, and they feed off their dreams because they're all dreaming. And the dreams are terrifying. And the doorway is what they dream about, the things that are in the doorway. They're being tortured. They're being so many different things that are happening. And even if it is a sexual orientated thing, it's done with pain and suffering. twisting. And this is the energy that these things feed off of. In a way, it's like control. Like they're all under control of these eyes. So the eyes want to have complete control. They want everybody to be docile. They want everybody to be like these beings will come and sting you and you won't be able to do anything. Because they're going to control your dreams. They're going to control everything about what you do, what you think. Because they have you trapped inside this ocean. And once you're in this ocean, you'll never leave. You'll never wake up. And now they have complete control of everything that happens here. I go to the center of this ocean. And I have something I pull out of my heart that I took with me. It is a seed. And the seed grows in water. I set it in the middle of this ocean, and it instantly starts to expand. And it's like a massive tree. The roots go to every part of the space and go up and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows till it hits the edge of the space and smashes through the space into the sludge and takes 10,000 years before it reaches the outer spots and continues to grow and grow and grow and grow until it hits a dimensional space. And that dimensional space is pure light. And the roots grow to the edge of that space, and that space opens slowly though, and the roots go into the dimensional space and they hit light for the first time, and it seems like I don't know how many thousands of years. And when they hit the light, there's like all the roots of this tree burst into beautiful pink, purple, blue, red, white, even black flowers and navy blue, and all these beautiful trees instantly grow into the space, and the sun in this space glows beautiful. It's like being in a garden. But the trees grow so bright and the flowers go so bright, it's going to almost block out the sun because the space isn't big enough it needs more energy. It's interesting that the space seems to get smaller because you look down into this dark space and these beings are basically trying to attack the roots of these seeds. So there's a little trick here, and the trick is dimensional spaces are infinite spaces, and the illusion that it's not is just simply an illusion. So I slap my hands and the space turns in the size of 1,000 galaxies, and the light goes like a supernova, and the plants grow ridiculously big, and there's a pulsate of light that goes down into the roots ridiculously fast and explodes into light, and all these beings instantly turn to dust, and all the souls get absorbed into the roots and brought up through the roots into each single petal, each flower, and get reborn as a baby. And there's a massive woman here that picks up all the babies and places them on like a little, it's kind of like a slide, and they get taken to specific places to heal and to grow and to be nurtured. This space gets completely taken away, so it no longer exists. Now, I ask that every single person that watches this video to allow their trees within themselves to grow into that space of their own, so they can heal this, because it's not simply just one person, it's every soul on earth needs to do something like this in order to release us from this energy, because this energy is within every single one of us, and every single one of us needs to stand up for what is right. Thank you very much. And God bless all of us, and be strong in what you believe in. Take care.